Okay, everyone. Thank you very much for your patience and waiting. Once again, welcome to the first webinar of FAWS in Asia organized by Rackspace. FAWS means Rackspace Fanatical Support on AWS Cloud. I'm Katie, your host of today's webinar. I'm from Rackspace Marketing of Asia. Before we jump into the main body of today's session, allow me to go through the housekeeping things first. As you would have been aware of, you are on mute throughout the whole webinar just to eliminate any potential disturbance on the background noise. So in case you have questions, please raise them in the chat box and direct all of them to our presenter, Mr. Matthew Nethaway, on the right-hand side of the control screen. And then we will answer all the questions at once during the Q&A session towards the end of the presentation. And one more important note is that the webinar will be recorded and it will be made available later in the week. So now, without further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Matthew Nethaway, our lead solutions architect in Rackspace Asia, who is going to tell you more about the exciting new collaboration we have with AWS. Matt, please.
Great, thanks, Katie. Hi there, everyone. My name is Matthew Nethaway. I'm the head of solution architecture for Asia, based out of Hong Kong. I look after a team of solution architects who are focused on finding the best fit solutions for our customers. Now, this presentation today is aimed at giving a broad introduction of Fanatical Support for AWS. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay. Now, first of all, let's answer the question, what is Fanatical Support? Fanatical Support can really be described as the concept of going above and beyond for our customers, knowing that there is someone there to look after you 24/7 by 365, which allows you to sleep better at night. Now, we're going to be looking at the evolution of Fanatical Support over the years. Fanatical Support was really founded in 1998, and Rackspace was founded in 1998, and Fanatical Support was founded in 1999. Now, there has been a number of evolutions of this over the many years, and we've built a number of different services and capabilities along the way. So, on top of delivering services ourselves, like our intensive service level, we've partnered with companies such as Microsoft and VMware to deliver Fanatical Support on their technologies. Back in 2010, we founded OpenStack along with NASA, and now we have one of the largest OpenStack clouds globally. We also deliver Fanatical Support on private clouds, both in customers' data centers and within the Rackspace data center. Now, towards the tail end of 2015, we recognized that Azure and AWS are fantastic technology platforms. We don't want to compete with these companies. Instead, we think that our service on their platform is a great offering for the market, and we're really bridging the gap between unmanaged infrastructure as a service and fully managed services. Obviously, today we're here to talk about AWS, but a natural evolution of what Rackspace has been doing since 1998, which is delivering Fanatical Support. Now, people often ask, who is a good fit for Rackspace? And this can really be categorized as customers who value support, who value managed services. They may have SaaS-based applications. They may have business-critical applications delivering services internally or externally. But most of the time, customers will really have applications that, when downtime has a significant impact on their business. Generally, this can be categorized as customers who want to outsource the management of their hardware and applications. So to recap, yes, now we are able to manage your AWS footprint. So our vision is, and always has been, to be recognized as one of the world's greatest service companies. And that's powered by Fanatical Support. This has been proven by our position in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for Cloud-Enabled Managed Hosting. Now, Gartner, for those that are not familiar, is a world-leading IT research and advisory services company, delivering world-class objective insights on areas of IT, including cloud computing. Now, Rackspace is a managed cloud hosting company, delivering Fanatical Support, and stands out as the clear leader in the cloud-enabled managed hosting quadrant. AWS are clearly the leader in the infrastructure as a service space. Now, we have recognized that it's better for us to be working together rather than separately. So essentially, we're putting the best with the best. Now, this offering is really about putting world-class infrastructure services company with world-class infrastructure as a service company. With a world-class service company. Now, moving on to the AWS offering itself. So, customers say to us that they love Fanatical Support, but many developers these days are learning to build applications on AWS platforms. Now, as a result of this, many businesses want to adopt and take advantage of the power of AWS infrastructure. Now, we've already experienced customers reluctantly leaving us saying, why can't you just deliver Fanatical Support on top of AWS? So this was one of the major drivers for us creating this offering. Now, customers come to us with a number of key problems. They need some help in bringing their infrastructure up and ask, how do we migrate to AWS? How do I architect this to be best practice? There are so many products and services available. How do I know I'm using the right ones in the right way? Now, AWS themselves say they're not prescriptive. They provide the building blocks and the tutorials to follow, but much of the architectural design is up to you. And this is where we add value in the planning and design phases to make sure stable and reliable platform is built from day one. Now, moving over to the right-hand side of this slide and looking at the application down side. So customers will generally lift and shift their applications and place them on AWS. They don't necessarily see any benefits for using a cloud platform. This is because they're not taking a transformative approach to their application deployments. This is where Rackspace would step in and advise customers on how to transform their applications to take advantage of cloud technologies. And that could be, for instance, putting static objects in S3, leveraging CloudFront for CDN capabilities, optimizing application performance using Elasticache. We really assist in optimizing how your application runs on the cloud and how we can help you to automate that. So moving over to now security focus in the bottom left of the slide. We've been in the cloud business now for a long time. We know that one of the major inhibitors to cloud adoption is security. The market is maturing and people are getting more and more sophisticated views on this, but we haven't built this offering with a view to putting applications up in the cloud and then bolting on security. We've really built this offering from the ground up with security as a major focus. For instance, things like logs and auditing, where we take care of it as part of the solution, as part of the delivery of the service, so customers don't need to worry about that. We'll be talking about this in a little bit more over the next few slides. We'll be digging into the tools and the human elements where we really help you to manage your AWS footprint. So then finally, looking at the business side of things in the bottom right-hand corner of this slide, businesses don't want to focus on infrastructure. Businesses want to focus on innovation, beating the competition, maximizing on revenues. AWS have 60 plus core services. How do you put these together efficiently? How do you keep up with regional availability of products? This then becomes our job. We have more than 200 certified solution architects globally, so we have the necessary scale in order to take care of this for you. So what is Fanatical Support for AWS? The way that we view the offering is a combination of tooling and automation along with human expertise. And we believe that we sit in the intersection here. We're building tooling and automation that complements AWS. We're not trying to recreate their console, their control panel. You get full access to the AWS console as it exists today. We're building automation and tooling that adds value to our customers. Now, a lot of MSPs will engage with customers, take existing workflows and put them on the cloud, and then say, give us a call when something goes wrong. This is not the approach Rackspace are taking with this offering. Rackspace has invested heavily in time and engineering efforts to build these tools so we can deliver a product which is going to exceed expectations. In terms of expertise, we have a great deal of investment in getting our Rackers trained and certified with AWS. We've got more than 200 certified Rackers globally. 20 plus of these Rackers sit within the Hong Kong office. We have some of the world's most certified AWS specialists, including 4 Master Certified Architects. And Master Certified Architects are those that have completed all of the AWS certifications. And there's only 80 to 100 of these in the world. So in summary, we believe that we are the intersection between tooling and automation combined with human expertise. So let's take a look at the service levels. We have 2 service levels. One is Navigator. Now, Navigator is where Rackspace is your AWS guide. Aviator is the second service level, bit of an aeronautical theme. This is where Rackspace operates AWS with you. So, going back to Navigator, let's start there. Navigator, we provide you with guidance. We hold your hand. We teach you how to use best practices. We are there to answer questions about products and tooling and automation. We're also there to respond to AWS infrastructure and provide feedback in the event that there were to be any issues. Now, the next level is Aviator. Aviator is a much more in-depth service where it will actually help you to run the environment. All of the benefits of Navigator are included, but you also get a hands-on approach. We can log into your instances. We can help you template and build your environment. We can resolve issues that might occur on your behalf. So let's dive into some of these tools and human elements that are going to make those service levels what they are and what you will receive. So the first thing that you get on both service levels, both Navigator and Aviator, is a pre-configured AWS account. So this includes a number of best practice configurations, things like CloudTrail being enabled on all services in all regions, and disabling the root account, layering a higher levels of security. We do identity and permission management. Through the Rackspace portal, you can create users that are then federated into the AWS environment. It's better off to use short-lived security tokens for accessing your environments rather than creating long-term users, and we do that automatically for you. There's a unified audit log, which means all of the activity that is happening across all of your accounts are logged to a central location. You can then view all of this through a unified view, and it's searchable based on time, activity, user. So then you can identify what's happening across all of your accounts. Best practice cloud formation templates are available to you, and in Aviator we take that one step further. We'll actually customize these and create these for you. Cloud formation, for those that are not aware, is a way to provision your infrastructure automatically, essentially becoming infrastructure as code. We have a library of these templates that are available, and then in Aviator, as I mentioned, we'll custom design these to fit your specific environment, your specific application. So you get access to the AWS Trusted Advisor. Now under Navigator and Aviator, all checks are available to you under the Trusted Advisor. And Trusted Advisor generally covers 4 areas: security recommendations, availability, cost, and performance. In addition to this, you get access to the Rackspace Advisor. Now this is where the 2 service levels begin to differ. So with Navigator you get limited checks, and Aviator you get all of the checks. Rackspace Advisor is otherwise known as Compass, and it's aimed at understanding what Rackspace best practices are and what our recommendations are for running applications and workloads in the cloud. It will scan your environment and determine whether or not your environment meets the Rackspace best practices, or is it not compliant. Now moving forward, on the roadmap is a notification service that if your infrastructure, if your environment deviates from standard best practices, then there'll be a process of 1, notification, and then 2, also remediation. So moving on to the Dynamic Bastion service. So this is really where the service from Aviator and Navigator are different. The Dynamic Bastion service is only available under the Aviator service level, and it's used for Rackspace and customers to access their environment in a secure manner. It's a really clever way of securing the environment and meeting best practices for compliance. For example, if something were to go wrong with something in your environment, which CloudWatch will identify, then this will raise a ticket which will be dropped into our ticketing system. Then once raised, one of our support certified rackers can look into it and request access to your server. This will then dynamically create a Bastion host, whilst logging at the same time the user, the instance, the time, all of this in the unified audit log. The support engineer can then access the Bastion server and then jump over to the instance in question. Now, all the time this is happening and working in the background, security groups are configured, which will only allow that Bastion host to access the impacted server. Once that individual rackers being Rackspace support individuals, they can log into that server, complete the work, and once completed, the Bastion host is destroyed and the access groups removed. Then finally, on the technology side of things, we have in-instance credential management. This is essentially a short-lived token authentication service which provides 2-factor authentication to a server. Access and authentication is all logged, again, via the unified logging service. So now moving on to the human element. Now, Rackspace has an army of 100% certified AWS architects globally. These architects and engineers are ready to deliver fanatical support to your business 24/7 by 365. You can communicate with these specialists via ticket and via phone. And that's regardless of service level, that's Navigator and Aviator. By default, all accounts will have access to a technical account manager, who is your day-to-day contact point. In addition to that, we deliver a 24/7 support on the AWS platform. We have back-to-back enterprise agreements with AWS so that any issue that you have with AWS, you can now call us and we'll make sure it's resolved and then escalate that to AWS as necessary. You'll have access to a technical onboarding manager. Now, under the Navigator service level, your onboarding manager will provide you initial guidance and help you get set up. Under Aviator, the onboarding manager will coordinate the process of getting your application and your business up and running on AWS. Some of the best practices in architecture, so we have teams of solution architects who consult with customers on a day-to-day basis. We have professional services teams who can assist you with CI workflows and integration consulting. Again, this is at the point where Navigator and Aviator starts to differ. The monthly account review is available to the Aviator customers only, and that's driven by your technical account manager, and that will cover things looking at cost and performance optimization for your account. The next stage is EC2 operating system management. So we'll manage your operating system, we'll patch it, back it up, we'll perform fault resolution. We have a team of system administrators who are on standby to provide you with operating system level support. CloudWatch. So we enable CloudWatch and we respond to CloudWatch alerts for you. What we can do is actually create a custom runbook, a runbook where we can perform certain tasks on your behalf. So if an alarm is triggered, then one of our certified engineers can log in and follow a set of instructions in order to remediate that issue. Then finally on this page, we've got some response times which are fairly self-evident, you can see for yourselves. Under Navigator, urgent is less than 4-hour response time, standard is less than 24 hours, and then under the Aviator service level, emergency situations are responded to in less than 15 minutes, urgent less than 1 hour, and the standard response time is less than 4 hours. So finally, let's take a look at the pricing. So the pricing is based on a tiered pricing model. There's two elements to the overall expenditure, and that is your support cost. So that's your support cost with Rackspace, and then your infrastructure cost with AWS. So let's take an example here of, let's say you have a monthly AWS account spend of $10,000. Your Navigator service fee would be $1,100. Your Aviator service fee would be $7,000. So this is a sliding scale. So if you grow with AWS, then you potentially may jump into the next pricing tier with Rackspace. But then also if you shrink with AWS, then you're going to drop down into the previous pricing tier. So that's it for me today. I'd like to thank everyone for their time and attention. I'm going to open it up now to some questions.
Thank you very much, Matt, for the very details on how we work with AWS to provide more options to our customers and enhance our greater service of support. So the Q&A section is now open, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask and direct your question through the chat box to Matt. While we are waiting the floor to build up their questions, I do have one for you, Matt, here. You mentioned that there are two models to run the Fanatical Support for AWS Cloud. There are Navigator or Aviator. So how does the customer decide which is a better option to go?
Great, excellent question. So Navigator is really aimed at companies that have a lot of existing internal support. So these companies will have teams of system administrators who will be able to manage the day-to-day workloads on their AWS footprint. But they may not necessarily have access to expertise and the amount of solution architects that we have and the expertise in order to really manage their AWS footprint in an efficient and optimized way. Now with Navigator, obviously, we'll take a lot of that guidance and educate the customer the technical account manager will be able to give you that level of guidance and give you that level of expertise, and we can really direct those customers that are not necessarily as familiar with the AWS platform. Now, under Aviator, we obviously take that one step further, and for a customer fit, it will fit with customers that don't necessarily have a huge internal IT team. They may not have internal IT system administrators, or maybe not able to manage the platform 24/7. For these companies, these customers, Aviator is a really great fit because we take a lot of the day-to-day system administration away from the customer, allowing them to focus on their business. Hope that answers the question for you.
Yeah, great. Well, I can see there's no further questions, so if there's nothing else here, thank you very much for your time once again. If anyone of you has interest to know more about how to kickstart your FAWS plan with us, please feel free to speak to your sales representative or go to website at www.rackspace.com in your region, and it is our pleasure to be available to you and help you out as always. Okay, good to have every one of you today, and we will see you in our next webinar. Thank you, and goodbye.